Okay, we are live. Live.
Happy Wrath Month, everyone.
You're posting the Discord about all the rainbow capitalism corporate nonsense. That was everything.
Would you care to read it?
Oh, I could pull that up. We put that in general, right? I think, yeah. It was congratulations, homosexual. We have determined your existence is profitable during this 30-day period. Please have some rainbow flavored boot leather. Aren't we so magnanimous? Say there, spend your money with us so we can reinvest in genocide. Want to be gay and do crime? Well, don't worry, bucko. You handle the first part and we'll take care of the rest. They call them crimes against humanity because all of humanity is the limit. Just think of how many people we can reach given time. Please support our continued land theft. Oppression needs you to function. That was like everything. So good. If you're not in the Discord, you gotta be there for like that kind of good spicy shit.
Yeah, I feel like that's about as on the nose as I can make it right now. Also,
Yeah.
pardon me, listeners. I'm just vacuuming and cleaning right now. I'm almost done, but I'm muting intermittently.
Sometimes life, it just be that way. Oh, Lexa's here in the chat. Hello, Lexa. Oh, Kai is also here. Hello, Kai. Welcome. Good to see the usual crowd. No Scott today. Scott is actually at Pride or Wrath, whatever we're calling it. Scott is spreading gay wrath everywhere in Philly.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. What was I gonna say? Yeah, it's your holiday. If you're part of the community, you get to choose what you call it individually. So it can be Wrath Month, it can be Pride Month. Your call, baby. It can be Burn the Banks Month. I've made that joke so many times.
Burn the Banks month. It was funny. Me and one of my housemates were having a whole conversation about like different financial systems this morning. I'm like, well, the gold standard has its pros and cons, and versus this, versus that, and we've just kind of just circled back to money is stupid. But here we are.
Can we also land on money is evil?
Yeah, it really it can warp and change either the lack thereof and also the excess of. It can.
It's like, did you ever watch Full Metal Alchemist?
I never watched it, but I read the manga.
A lot of what the first one that they did as an anime, not the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, was about the cost of equivalent exchange. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And how getting something for nothing is a lie. Oops.
Yeah,
But
that's very true.
also, the sometimes it's not, and let me explain. So, like, raspberries. Did you do anything to get those raspberries?
What do you mean, like?
If you find a bush, or if you like get raspberries off a bush.
No, I mean if you didn't plant the bush or grow it, didn't really.
But you did locate it, right? And you did walk there to get it.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I suppose.
So like, I don't know. I feel like I don't even know where I was going with this. Oh, I'm hungry. I should have eaten more this morning.
Yeah, it's one of those days. I kind of debated, like with Scott not being able to make it, I kind of debated whether or not we should record or not, but
Nah, fuck it. I don't like missing sessions.
I know I don't really like to either. It really throws me off. I am behind on uploads. Who's fucking surprised? Nobody. But we're still here. We're queer. We're recording. I'm just. My house is breaking. like, I don't want to like oversimplify it, but it's just, the fucking place has had more issues than we knew about.
That's moving into most used places, yeah.
Yeah. So it's just been like, it's like every time you try and like address a problem, it's like, now I have a roadblock. Now I have a roadblock. It's just been roadblock after roadblock. So it's just been a little difficult on that front. Plus, like maintaining the 9 to 5, and it is full-fledged Pagan Pride planning season. So I'm a little, and by a little I mean a lot, overtaxed. But that's okay.
I've drank water and I remember what I was gonna say now.
Isn't it funny how that
something
works?
from Yeah, I know, right? The whole something for nothing is kind of like a two-handed, like a double-edged blade, right? Like society always likes to act like money, which you can basically get for nothing, right? For like investment and doing no real work.
Oh yeah, like we
You
were
know what I
talking
mean?
about fucking Bitcoin this morning, like, and how it's worth something because a bunch of people believe in it, but otherwise it isn't worth
Yeah, but
shit.
it actually doesn't really have any tangible value, and
Right.
you have to operate in this weird metasphere to create this objectified currency or resource that you then trade for actual resource, which is divorced from the process of getting the actual sustenance resource that you need. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like it's a double-edged sword, right? Because it will tell you in that system that nothing is free, right? But nature doesn't ask you to pay for raspberries. It just asks you to put in a little bit of effort of like, go find the raspberries, care for it, make sure you're good to the plants, maybe cultivate them or help them out if they're not doing the best,
It's kind of like
spread them so there's more.
like in crafting games, like crafting gathering games, like you go to the raspberry bush and once you pick it, like the bush disappears, right? Sometimes
Yeah.
I think those crafting games, like as fun as they are, sometimes I think they give this skewed perspective of like what
Look, I'm
that
gonna be
would be
real with
like.
you.
Like you don't want to
A lot of
harvest the
video
entire
games,
bush.
sorry, I was
Worries.
cycling my mutes. A lot of video games are made by people who've never actually spent any time in nature or explicitly only have like colonized worldviews that they've been introduced to.
Yeah.
So, like, again, I'm gonna shout out the book Braiding Sweetgrass because Robin Wall Kilmermer, and I think that's how you say her last name. Like, it's off the top of my head, I can't remember. Um, but she talks about how there's this idea that when you harvest something, it's like depleting a resource, but that comes from like this very colonial extraction type of mindset because their systems don't really pay regard for if something's sustainable. That's why it works in an extractive method, right? Whereas if something's within a sustainable model, it is literally infinite because it will be coming back. The world has for our use and capabilities for what the earth can produce, we actually have like pretty much limitless resources here if we work it appropriately, right? But we do not have enough to survive extraction, right? Because extraction is inherently destructive, right? Whereas living within sustainability is constructive, right? If you're living a sustainable lifestyle, you're going to be planting more plants that are food plants that are like indigenous to the area. So people could plant food forests of like corn, beans, squash, strawberries. You could have wild rice along all the lakes in like maybe not all of North America, but a lot of lakes and rivers. But then people like settlers destroy them because they think that they're like weeds or whatever, and it like in their opinion takes up what would be beachfront viewing or whatever. But it's like literally food for like the ducks and all the animals and people too. Like wild rice is really fucking good for you, right? But then like when they go and harvest that shit, they'll also be extractive with it, right? They'll like try and develop methods where they get all of the rice out of the the stalks, I guess. I'm not a botanist. And that's a problem because the animals that live in that lake and rely on it um don't have any food to eat, and I'm sure they contribute to that ecosystem in a way that's incredibly important to keeping plants like that going, right? So you're taking away the animals that make that system keep going, you know what I mean? Because you're extracting more than you should. You're stepping outside of the realms of sustainability, right? So like something can have like this weird guise of being sustainable, but actually just be purely extractive. And you see that with what is it? Conservation areas where they insist that they are restoring areas by blocking it off and not letting people into that area, because
Yeah.
in the settler colonial mind they think that, you know, land was untouched before they were here, but it wasn't. People were going through it all the fucking time, right?
They really
But they're
do
actually more
fucking
so
act
kind of,
that way. That makes me so
they do.
angry.
And
So
like the
annoying.
problem is there's been so many invasive plants developed now that a lot of ecosystems are getting destroyed by like garlic mustard and creeping dog or dog strangling vine. And then there's this type of, I can't remember what it's called, bush. I have a bunch of photos of invasive plants that if I see them, I rep them out, except for the one that if you fuck with it, it agitates and spreads out more shoots like a hydra. So that one you
Mm.
gotta fucking dig the roots out. But like people have to be going in there with the correct knowledge to fix that stuff, right? And that's why I talk about like land restoration so much, even in the Discord too. Like if you're in the Discord on our herbal working channel, we talk a decent amount of like what people have experienced with that. Not to say like I'm an expert on anything. I like literally just pull the species I know are invasive and just stay in my fucking lane. I'm trying to help out, you know, and
Hmm.
that's kind of the point of everything, is like making the world a better place. By and like I made a post on my Facebook about how if being in nature has taught me anything, it's that the future is made by pulling weeds, right? And a weed is literally anything that's introduced to a system that doesn't play fair, i.e., it kills other stuff off so that it can take that space and wipe everything out, or something that doesn't share enough nutrients to the point where it like kills, like think of like the vines that climb a tree and kill that tree in the process, as opposed to like moss that grows on that tree or lichen, you know.
That's very true.
So so we have a lot of weeds in society, both metaphorically and literally, right? Like we have politicians that take up resources that are supposed to be directing the future of humanity, who are using it for self-serving gains, who then sell out all of their fellow human beings to these inhuman corporate entities that then continue to domineer and destroy the entire planet in the name of their own continued existence, because they've kind of developed into like egregores at this point, corporations, you know what I mean? Like they almost have their own mind and they have to extract to
They
survive.
really
That's like
do,
their
because
fundamental
even
fucking DNA.
yeah, because even the people that rotate in and out of, the top, I guess people in power in corporations, like they they hire and fire all the time, at that level.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like it's this weird, like, for the company. I see a little bit of it at my company when I see like some higher level like managers and stuff, and I'm like, wow, y'all are really committed to the cause, huh? And it's like it's just a little unsettling, but at the same time,
The all-consuming greed.
I can also understand, I guess, just why the sometimes, your average worker, whatever, kind of gets attached to a company, especially if the company treats you semi decently. I can understand
Mm-hmm.
why people get, maybe company, that sense of like company pride or loyalty, because people are looking for something to attach themselves to. Like we're all looking for
Mm-hmm.
community in some way. And unfortunately for many people, community revolves around your job, and it revolves around this corporate culture. And so yeah, it's just it's unsettling. It's like we all crave community, but it doesn't have to be through a corporate culture. It could be through just like us being ourselves.
Mm-hmm. I mean, community's difficult, right? Because like
It
when we
is.
form a lot of communities trying to change things, they're often very secular, and I think that kind of defeats the point of community, right? I mean, because like they're supposed to be localized, but they're also not supposed to be truly secular. I mean, there are
exclusive.
obviously going to be groups that are, there has to be groups that are exclusive though. Like if you're a marginalized demographic that doesn't have shared experiences with people outside of your specific scope, then it is absolutely reasonable, if not fundamental for survival, to form your own spaces that deliberately keep people who don't fit that criteria out, you know? I think that's a healthy thing too.
I just think people do
Whereas
better in smaller niche groups. Just like
kind of, but
yeah.
also I've seen how that can really reinforce think tanks and like echo chambers, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I've met a lot of people,
And like cult mentalities and shit.
yes, especially in Discord and shit, right?
Yeah.
When Discord communities get super secular and become cultish, not just cultish, like straight up fucking culty, right?
Right.
Like
It's not even like, is it a cult? It's like, ooh, oh no, it's a cult. Eep.
it's like, oh, what's that? They've recreated a hierarchy. Yeah, it's a cult.
Oh no.
God, life is strange. We're all, well, actually, we're not all trying to do better. Some of us really aren't. Let's be fucking real.
Some of us think we're already perfect. Oh yes, let me be Rue's mouthpiece here. So in the chat, Rue just posted. We were just talking about Discord. Rue is launching a cartomancy channel called Card Crafting in the Discord. And I think the idea is to kind of just like, talk about different readings that we're doing, different systems, all things kind of cartomancy. Because I think what you're trying to brush up on your rider weight skills. Yep, so Rue's trying to brush up on their rider weight skills. So if anyone is interested in brushing up on their card crafting, or if you are particularly skilled and are wanting to share some knowledge in there, that's
There
fun.
you go.
I am really happy about our
How
little
do I put the
Discord.
cute little pictures in front of the channel?
So I usually go to like
That you have to do
Unicode.
on mobile or, sorry, go ahead.
I'll go to like a Unicode website and then I'll use the Unicode for the emoji that I
That
want.
can work, yeah.
Yeah.
You have to typically copy it to get it in your clipboard. Is that
Yeah,
what they
you
call it?
copy. Yeah, copy the.
Yeah.
Yep. Gotta get you a
And then
PC. So.
I will eventually. I'm just fucking, what's the word I'm looking for? Extreme, maybe not extremely, but like prodigiously poor.
Yeah, you're in a survival mode. I got you.
I've been just fucking struggling for a hot minute since the film strike, honestly. I don't have enough contacts to be doing well in this industry right now, especially when people that I'm working with aren't working. So I have to really hope that the next thing that comes along pulls me onto it, or I really can't stay in Toronto any longer.
Mm.
It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
I mean, fucking, if change happens, change happens. Like, it's not like I tried to get into film originally and I'm gonna be crestfallen that my fucking childhood dream is like shattered. Like, I was telling a friend last night, like, before I got into film, I was thinking I was gonna be a fucking garbage collector. Not like the one on the truck, but like somebody who goes and collects it off the ground.
Oh, like a scrapper kind of.
Like, garbage picker upper.
Mm.
Yeah, because like it was something I was good at in protests, like cleaning up after people. Because Jesus Christ, people fucking. You'd think that going to a protest where people want to make the world a better place or like show up in solidarity with Indigenous people wouldn't be fucking littering, but you'd be
Thank
surprised.
you for
The
fucking
thing is, though,
saying that. Thank you so
I
much
do think
because it drives me insane when this
so.
is true of pagan events too. It's like clean the fuck up after yourselves. My God.
So here's the hard truth. I'm going to tell you right now, though. We will never solve litter as a human species until we change our minds about it, right?
Yeah.
So we think that littering is this very deliberate thing, right? And sometimes, don't get me wrong, it is. I've watched a lady throw her bottle into the river, and I yelled at her and shamed her because that was goose habitat and it was their nesting season. And I shouted her down and I told her to go pick it up right the fuck now. And she's like, or what? And I'm like, or I'm going to keep fucking yelling at you until other people come along and see how much of a piece of shit you are. Now pick up your fucking bottle. Like, I was mad about it. And she just
Right.
like acquiesced because I guess I intimidated her. But like, if I have to intimidate some middle-aged white lady, actually I'm a middle-aged white lady, some old white lady to pick up her to pick up her garbage, then like,
so be it.
fucking I will, you know what I mean? Also, I'm not necessarily like a middle-aged white lady, but I'm like middle-aged,
Right.
so like she's definitely a fucking old lady at this point. She's like
Old enough to know better.
56. Fucking old enough to know better is for sure. Yeah. So anyways, but then also a large amount of litter is unintentional because stuff falls out of people's backpacks that are actually not the best for designed. Like a really good example of this is if you use the side pockets on a backpack, you know the ones I'm talking about, and you have like an empty Gatorade bottle, the odds of that slipping out is actually exponentially higher than you expect it to be. And sometimes if garbage falls from somebody, they may see it, not even realize it had come from them. So there is actually a statistically large amount of garbage that's litter on the ground that is purely fucking unintentional litter. Which is why if we shift our attitudes as a society to where like we pay a lot more people to pick up garbage in city areas, because like it's one thing for me to pick up garbage on a trail, you know what I mean, because I'm not gonna have to have whole fucking garbage bags of it. But if I do that in the city, I'd also have to have a way to dispose of it, right? If I'm walking on a trail, the amount of garbage I can pick up, I can put in the bin at the trail, and there is like literally no issue. And no one's going to think that I'm dumping my house's garbage on the trail. And if they say, "Where's all that from?" You say, "I collected garbage," and everyone says, "Thank you," right? But we all need to start picking up after each other because I don't care who you are, you have accidentally littered, whether you think you have or not, right? And it is just a pure fact that we all do it, and we need to be better about cleaning up after it where we see it and employing people in areas where litter disposal is paid for, such as cities, right? Plus, cities will often have a more dangerous type of litter that, like broken glass, for example, which you need somebody with like equipment to pick up in a safer manner. You're not going to have people on a trail going and picking up fucking broken glass bottles with their bare hands, right?
No.
So there's a level of preparation required for certain city pickups, especially if there's hypodermics involved. That is not not
Do
something that
not touch a needle.
it's not something. Well, I mean, you can if you know how to do it, right? I'm not going to tell somebody what to do. If you know how to do proper sharps disposal, power to you, and go ahead and do it. No shame to anybody who uses. I'm not about that. But also at the same time, don't be picking up sharps if you don't know how to dispose of them.
Yeah.
It is not safe, right? Just let it be and the professionals will handle it, and we need to pay more professionals to do it because it's an important thing. Also, there's not, if you're out in nature, the odds of somebody being fucking paid to walk around nature to the specific spot that you're at and pick up that garbage is like next to nothing.
Yeah.
Every single fucking person, if you can hear this, you need to pick up garbage when you're in nature, myself included. I need to do it more. I'm gonna have to start fucking eating my own words and bringing bags with me in a picker upper so I can start doing that, because we've all littered and it doesn't get fixed until we all start taking personal responsibility for it, right?
Yeah, it's very true. That was like one of the earliest memories. The things my mom always instilled in me was do not throw your trash on the ground. You put it in your pocket until you find a trash can. Like that was just always.
Pockets are subpar though because it's so easy to have it come out with your hand because of the nature of our skin, right?
Yeah, and you know anything that's not of your own fault. I mean, you can't be blamed for not like a karma
No, but
black record.
we can try to do better is all I'm saying,
But but I remember she would always instill that in me. She was like, you know, a little candy wrapper or something. She's like, you just shove it in your pocket until you get to a trash can. And I still follow that, you know, like if I have trash, like I'll either like toss it in my pocket or like in a bag or something, you know, or just toss it in a backpack.
Yeah.
And you just wait till you get to the trash can. And I really think that when it comes to public events, and especially events that are run by nonprofit organizations, try and take your trash with you, especially if you're like a vendor or something at an event, or a presenter or something, or if you're doing something that is going to generate a lot of trash. Like half of my battle in the morning at Clark Park when we're setting up for Philadelphia Pagan Pride Day is dealing with the large amount of trash that's already there from the day before. Now Philly itself is just not the best in terms of people picking up after themselves. I wish people were a lot better. But it's also this idea of like, so like in the park, like everyone would be like, oh, I picked up my trash, and then I shoved it all into the overflowing trash can. It reminds me of that scene in The Simpsons where the trash can's overflowing and Homer like staples a banana peel to the side of the trash can. You know, and it's like, all right, that doesn't help. You know, it's there's just a large amount that's generated. It's really insane. So we need to do better.
I think we need to get better about. But I think the ultimate thing is we need to get better about reducing how much garbage we generate as a whole.
Yes.
Right?
Like don't use disposable tablecloths. Just like get one nice one.
If they're plastic, yeah, that's a crime. But also disposable shit's actually super ethical if it's biodegradable, especially paper product. Right? Like we need to be moving towards paper products as a society, because like paper decomposes faster than orange peels. I don't know if you know that or not. So it's kind of not the worst thing. It's not like we're clear cutting forests to make paper, and we get paper pulp. We get paper pulp from a lot of farms that make trees that are like generated for that, essentially.
So we have like tree farms dedicated to like paper making.
I'm certain we do. I don't think they're just fucking like. Here's also the thing too. I talked about this way back in the day. It's not like I work in the lumber industry, but I used to be a carpenter, and I've worked on lumber factories. They're not trying to make wood pulp. It's often a byproduct, right? Now that said, I'm sure there are trees they expressly grow to grind up for pulp, right? But that's sustainable. You grow something, you grind it. You grow something, you grind it, right? If you're not depleting the nutrients out of the environment and you're not monocropping, it's fucking nature.
Yeah, I saw there's some logging companies that, you know, have huge tracts of land, and what they do is they'll, you know, they have a cycle. They plant trees and then they cut them down. They plant them and cut them down, and there's like they have a whole system and a whole sustainable system worked out.
We could be a lot better about how we could be a lot better about how we do our sustainability, and it is by getting like the indigenous people who like traditionally it's their land, getting them involved is like, it's just historically shown to be one of the most efficient things for making the environment livable. It's like, what was that statistic? Indigenous people are like 15% of the world's population. It's like 15 or 5. I can't remember which it is, but they're responsible for 80% of biodiversity protection.
Oh.
Yeah. So like, it's a really big deal to let the people whose land you're on actually be the ones like taking care of it, and you can contribute to that, right? You can help. You don't need to be the one driving the fucking bus.
I realize like sometimes when you talk to people, a lot of times their knee-jerk reaction is to say, well, the government is doing X, Y, and Z, and that's why everything is crap. And it's like, all right, you're not wrong, but you're not 100% right. You know, there's levels and nuances and all this other kind of stuff. But like, what I think about is us as a species, us as a people, like our thinking has to change. Like what you were saying about litter, you know, like we have to really think about like just pick it up, pick it up, put it, you know, and you know,
if you can, please do.
Yeah, exactly.
I said,
Like
if you
if you
can,
can.
please do. I understand that, like, one, there's people who, like, if the land that you're on has been dispossessed from you, and people who are on it are littering on it, I understand the feeling of fuck these people, I'm not cleaning up after them.
Yeah.
That's fucking fair, and I would never tell somebody in that position that they should be cleaning up after other people. But, like, if it's not your land, you can clean it up. Just fucking clean it up. And even, like, I don't know. It's just it's good. It's good to do shit like that, and always trying to be conscientious, and to always listen to people and work on just fucking improving and making the world a better place. Because some of the most impactful actions are often stuff that we overlook. Like I said, like picking up trash or pulling invasive plants so that, like, actual natural shit can grow.
Yeah, that's like one of my focuses with the patches of dirt that I have at this house that I have. And I got a pretty big patch of dirt now. I had a small patch of dirt at my old place, but now I have a small patch of dirt in the front and a big patch of dirt in the back. But I've been trying to mark out a space. I do need a shed back there, so I've been trying to like mark out a space to put a shed back there, and I've been pulling up these like hard plastic pallets that they were used as like decking, and like I got a lot of work ahead of me under there, but I'm looking forward to it because like a lot of like this whole block, like no one really gardens on this block. It's very like everyone has their nice, like for anyone who has a yard, it's either like a collection of project stuff, like a workspace kind of yard, or it's like, just my little backyard. But like no one really gardens. There's not a lot of plant life, and everyone's always like, "You want some weed killer?" So I'm like, I wish you guys liked plants on this block. There's also no trees, which kind of sucks. So it is my goal to make my house like the weird plant house, like with the crazy garden. My fucking
The
goal.
answer is yes.
Yes. But I just feel really bummed out, like a little bit, like as I'm pulling up these pallets. I was like, man, these people here before me, like they really did not give a fuck about like the soil, like what, like there's so much trash in that yard. Like every time I'm out there, there is just trash that I'm pulling up.
I hate digging up trash. It's so irresponsible.
Layers
if it's not
of
biodegradable, don't
garbage
fucking bury. Yeah, if it's not biodegradable, you have no fucking business burying it. Please
in your
do
own
not.
backyard.
Please. I know,
Like
right?
insane. And then I'll get trash in the front. I have a little fence in the front, so that's just trash blown down the street and whatnot. It gets all caught in there. So I'm cleaning out trash out of there, but I really can't fucking stand trash. I'm about to put like a trash can out front of my house and be like, just fucking put it in there, please. Good God, put the trash in there. And that's the other thing too, is like, well, where do you think it goes? Okay, so you put it in the trash can, and then it just goes to a goddamn landfill, and that's like a whole other like issue in and of itself. Vinegar, dish soap, and Epsom salt is a good weed killer. I will remember that, Kai. Thank you so much for letting me know that. Because there are some invasive things, like a lot of the thistle that's growing out there is invasive, and it takes over. So yes, I will be using that to prevent that shit from coming back.
Good Lord. Just everything. Just
there has been an
we are in
overwhelming
trying times.
We really are, and it's like I would love to devote my entire life to just being like, okay, like let's pull these invasive plants, like let's take care of the fucking earth, right? But everyone's like, no, you gotta go make money. I'm like, I don't wanna. What if we don't need all that? What if we tried something different? And then we're looked at like we're fucking crazy. I think that's been a lot of the discourse. A lot of people in sort of like, it's been a lot of the discourse that I've seen online, of people that I follow, is just this sense of like, what the fuck are we all doing? You know, like
Our best.
yeah, like it's really really hard to keep up with everything, and I've even noticed it like with like sometimes with like responding to people with like pagan pride stuff. Sometimes some people I don't know if they realize like there's real people behind the like answering the messages. So like real people with real lives, real jobs. You know, I'm not sitting at my computer 24/7. I'm not responding to my phone 24/7. You know, but get outside,
Obviously,
people.
something's wrong with you.
Oh, but then I'm not at my computer
Rue,
24/7.
what emoji do you want for the card crafting channel?
I just some type of card. Just
Yeah, is there a
There
card?
is no
playing
card. No, no. I could do an ace though. You could do any of the
Huh.
suits.
to an ace. That's fine. We don't
Yeah.
have that
Copy
used
that.
yet.
That works.
I appreciate you so much. I'm over here trying to find codes and stuff, and I'm
Oh,
like,
so there's just no. Really, I'm
Oh wait,
surprised there's
by
no
ace
card.
do you mean spade?
yeah.
Okay.
There you go. I also I have 2
Me.
books on how to read with playing cards. It's something that I've been wanting to learn.
And that's why I just called it
Hell yeah.
cartomancy, because it's for everything.
Yeah. No, just the spade emoji reminded me of all the of the books that I have.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Oh, that's cute. I like that.
Perfect.
Card crafting. I don't know. Lexa, are you in our Discord? I think you are. Are you? Every time I think cartomancy, always. Oh my god, we have 4 viewers. I didn't realize we were so popular today.
Wowie wee wahoo. Thanks
Thank you.
everybody.
Yeah. I think we're all a
I
little
guess it's
bit
for people who want to celebrate pride but don't want to go out into the crowds. They're like, yeah, it's what
I think
queers talk about stuff.
I think I've come to that conclusion about myself is that love pride events. Well, I mean, like, I don't love pride events. I love the idea of them. I think they're great for people who enjoy being around other large crowds of people on a really hot, sweaty summer day. If that's your thing, blessed be. It's not my thing.
Blessed fucking bee. And it's got to be that bee that's flying around going buzz.
Yes. But yeah, I am not the type of person that likes to do that. Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes I wish I was more of the party gay, but I turned out to not be the party gay. I was more of the bookish nerd gay.
I'm a little bit of a party gay because I fucking love dancing and I love raves and I love being in cool places. So like I kind of party gay, but like I don't even fucking drink no more.
I can't drink either.
Exactly.
Drinking is like
I literally fucking have been no drink since October 30th. I'm just counting October 30th as when I started not drinking, but I was not drinking for a little bit before that, like at least a week or two, because I don't drink that often. But it was on the 30th, on the 31st Halloween, when I was like, yeah, I'm just entirely fucking done with alcohol. I don't think I need it for the rest of my life. So we're gonna see how it goes.
yeah, I really don't drink either. It doesn't agree with me. I wish I could because it's such a common thing that a lot of people do, and it just like I could smoke all day. Like if we want to, like we could smoke all day. That's great.
All day, every day.
But drinking though, no, it just dehydrates me so fast, and I feel sick. You know.
I'm gonna be real. Even smoking all day, every day has gotten old for me, and I'm trying. Unless I'm under specific circumstances, I do not smoke weed before noon anymore. And I also try to only smoke it in the afternoon/evening.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm just sharper, better, less anxious. When I'm stoned, I worry about shit fucking constantly that I do not worry about when I am sober. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm so much more confident and calm at the same time,
Opposite.
but also, like, able to just fucking ramp it up and go to 11 and be a ball of fucking chaos when I need to. I don't know if y'all have ever met me sober and when I'm in my zone and I have an adrenaline dump, but, like, I'm a black belt and I've done a lot of physical labor in my whole life, and I did, like, airsoft and paintball back in the day, so, like, I go hard.
You do.
Gotta go hard.
Go big or go home.
Just fuck it, we ball. Is there anybody in the chat who has anything they want to just shout out and say?
I don't know, but
Please
always, from Tink, there is always the Free Palestine.
Yep.
Which is still going on.
That is, we should make sure to deliberately say that at the end of our episode, like professionals, and be like, so, as part of our Hail Satan tier from Tink.
Sometimes I try and do the professional podcast thing, and then sometimes I don't.
We're bad at it, but it's only because of practice.
Yeah.
Everything well, not everything, but a lot of things in life is like practice. Practice and you practice and you practice. Or, like, you make mistakes and you learn from it, you know?
I
Like,
just think that I have
I
so
think
much
about the amount of
practice.
mistakes I made in 2020.
I have so much practice at doing my job. I wish I could I can autopilot my job because I do it the most, right? Like the work that I do is over and over and over and over again, right? I wish I could autopilot like all of the pagan pride and like witches, but like I wish that I could sit here and autopilot like edit episodes like in that same way that I work. But it does not work for me because I don't do it all the time. But if I did it all the time, I'd be so much better at it. So much faster. Frustrated. But that's okay. Because we're out here living the dream. I'm trying to keep the internet cool. Because it was becoming a very uncool place for a while with everyone trying to monetize every single character that they put on a screen. It's kind of been pissing me off. So that's why we're here doing the podcast.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I feel like there was a shift in the internet. So like when we were younger and just getting started, when we were talking on MySpace and Xanga, LiveJournal, shit like that, you know, Angel Fire websites, when we were being creative on the internet, it wasn't about making money. Like the underlying reason for us making MySpace and social profiles and sharing information with each other, it was literally just to share information and talk to each other. And then like this shift happened with now everything, like if you have a Twitter account, like what's your follower account, or you know your social media is like how many followers do you have? What does it fucking matter? Like
I mean,
I don't understand
I
what that
think we're
means.
also getting away from that. And like
I have seen that,
so
and there's been a rise in
really hot take.
discourse of people wanting to go back to like the old internet.
Here's a lightning level hot take. Are you ready for it? I think people what is it? How do I put this? I think people overblowing the whole social media is eating people's brains is a deliberate thing that's being spread by corporate billionaires because social media actually is organizing more resistance against them than has historically been possible. So, like, I don't know. I think that most people actually, like almost everybody I talk to, I've not met an individual who was not willing to sit down to talk about the negative impacts about how social media affects us and how people trying to get likes and like embody the lives that they see in other people can be problematic, right? Like that's almost always an issue that, like, name one person you personally know who does not understand that and suffers under social media addiction because they're trying to use it as a form of pure social interaction.
Now, I don't know
Like, there's a few,
anyone.
right?
I don't know anyone personally. Like anyone that I interact with in, I guess, meat space. I don't
Right.
know
And
anyone
a
that
lot
I
of
interact
people,
with that has that level of addiction.
and so, like, real talk. It's been shown lately that a lot of the people that we talk to online aren't even real people, they're fucking bots, right? If
Yes.
you can get into a voice call with a person, you know they're a real fucking person, right? But there is a shit ton of bots and socks problem. Like, it's a thing called dead internet theory. Look it up. It is a serious fucking problem right now, and you can't use discourse or rhetoric on the internet to gauge anything anymore, other than like verifiable people. So like, it's one thing if you get somebody on YouTube who's like behind a camera and you know who they are and their voice is consistent and they're not like some AI or whatever pumping out shit, right? You know that's a person who's giving a take or their own perspective, even if like sometimes it's being informed financially as it is with conservatives, right?
Mm.
But conservatives, we can follow the money trail to see that almost always they're doing it because conflict and rage drives engagement online, and the algorithms only see engagement because that's how they've been designed. Therefore, it's explicitly financially beneficial in an algorithm driven world to be right wing and inflammatory. And you can also get money from corporations who have a vested interest in keeping things the way they are, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of advantages that are posed to you if you do that shit. So like the people behind it, yeah, they're real people. But like if you don't fucking actually see somebody's face and see them talking or hear their voice, they just actually may be a fucking bot, and you don't need to waste your time chatting with them or discussing anything with them, really. And a lot of people who I think really overblow the whole social media shit are actually bots. And I think they even have bots on there playing up fake social media addicted people so that they can fucking straw man it and then talk about how this is what's destroying society. Because like, let's look at what TikTok is doing with the university encampments that are going on, which we've all seen and heard about.
Yeah.
That was being organized largely by TikTok, right? What did they immediately talk about doing after banning TikTok again? Or when a lot of the stuff that was being shared on Gaza, because there was a mainstream media blackout, a lot of journalists were using Instagram profiles that they'd had for a very long period of time. So they were already like kind of trenched into the algorithm. And then they were going and doing journalist stuff. And then there were also accounts that like popped up to go do the journalist stuff. But Instagram became a real hotspot for people sharing what's going on in Palestine right now, with all the bombings and genocide and starvation and like in fucking detail, right? Because of that, Instagram then introduces this political feature thing where it's automatically on to filter out political content. You have to go turn it off. You know what I mean? Like,
And it's like, how do you
these,
determine what is political? I hate that.
right?
I hate that. What
Because
is political?
that's the
Everything
thing,
is
though.
inherently political.
That's the thing,
Everything.
though. I hold on, though. It's always what the person in power says it is,
Right.
right? And
Yeah.
that's what's shitty. Because if I call somebody a bigot on Facebook,
Yeah.
that will be filtered as a comment and be pulled as hate speech somehow. But if they call me a tranny or whatever the
Right.
fuck, sorry for using the hard Y slur.
Yeah.
I know it's a huge trigger for a lot of people, but if they say a lot of other shit to me and I report it, Facebook consistently tells me it's not a violation of their code of conduct. So they have basically fucking open season on me 24/7 to say whatever they want, 43%, whatever. And
Yep.
I can't even call them a bigot and point out that they are dehumanizing me without being silenced. It is a completely unequal power dynamic because it benefits the vested interests of Facebook, right?
It almost
So
like
we can't take we can't really take a lot of that shit super seriously. We can take all of the journalists who are posting the shit on Instagram seriously. We can take seriously all the people on TikTok who are organizing these university encampments, which have historically shown to fucking work. Okay, we can look at that and say social media is actually making the world a better place, is making the world a more conscious place, is making the world a more humane and livable place where we actually want to fucking do something to make it better, right? That's why there is such a fucking narrative about it right now. Oh, social media is making us depressed. Oh, social media is making people focus on all the bad stuff. No, you're fucking ghouls, and all this bad shit's been happening to begin with, and people finally are seeing it and having to come to terms with it. And yeah, it might make you a little sad to realize the world's not as fucking good as you thought it was, but that's a byproduct of being a human fucking being who cares about other people, right?
Yeah.
And not being a ghoul who sold your soul to fucking Satan. No shade, actual Satan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Never.
And literally deserve to go to hell for selling everybody out, including the environment and all of humanity. Like it's terrible what people in positions of power do and just get away with. And then they fucking gaslight us about it constantly and tell us that the only things that we have that are allowing us to organize and fight back in a meaningful way are like the ails of our society. That is fucking sus, and I will call it out every time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like the narrative that we're super obsessed on it, because most people I meet are very few people I meet are actually centrists, and anybody who's a centrist is almost explicitly really privileged because they're afforded the opportunity to not have to care about whatever happens because it won't affect them anyways, right?
Yeah, it just means I have
But
enough money that nothing really applies to me. Thank you.
yeah, but almost everybody else is polarized onto like some degree of the spectrum because we have some fucking skin in the game, or a lot of skin in the game, to the point where like your friends and family are the costs of fuck ups, right? Like bad policy choices means that your family loses your home, or like the cops come and fucking shoot you, right? Because like that's what happens. Or like fuck, if you even talk about revolutionary shit, they'll come and shoot you in the sleep, like they did with the Huey P. Newton, the one of the leaders of the Black Panthers. They fucking shot him in his sleep, right? Like they will do whatever it takes to fucking silence us, and telling us that our networks of resistance are the problem is just a soft form of violence. It's still violence, you know? Anyways, that's another Sophia rants moment.
No, it's a constant struggle of trying to maintain that balance of like knowing that the world is not all sunshine and rainbows, right? Knowing that it's not, but also trying to like be happy for your own small successes, you know? Like everyone's situation is relative. That's what's hard for me sometimes. It's like, you know, how can I feel happy about this if everyone's dying, you know, in another country, or, you know,
look, I'm gonna pull from a content creator. I'm gonna pull from a content creator I watched recently where she was talking about how there was a really famous revolutionary who was dancing at a meeting back in the day, and people told her, "You aren't serious, you're not a revolutionary." And you've all heard this famous quote, "If I can't dance at your revolution, and I don't want to be a part of it," right? I'm gonna go through my watch history to actually find this video and shout it out, because the person is very small and doesn't get enough is too small to just like reference their stuff without actually giving them a direct shout out. You know what I mean? Where was I going with that though? Fuck, I can't remember off the top of my head. See, this is what happens when I split my attention and start scrolling to find a source. It's like, okay, yeah, you can do that, but you're gonna lose your train of thought because you're fucking stupid.
Me and all my housemates were just talking about that, because we were just talking about like food and groceries and stuff, and we've decided, like, I like that I have these like open shelves in my house, because once something goes into like a closet or something, like once the attention is split, once it's out of sight, out of mind, it doesn't exist anymore. So yeah, I kind of feel like that. I mean, earlier before we got into podcasting, I had like a 45-minute block of time, and I was like, I really don't know what the fuck to do with myself, because I know we're gonna start podcasting soon, but I don't want to like start another project, because splitting my attention, like that, and then getting into something else, and now I'm like thinking,
Yeah,
like,
I
well,
was
what am I
cleaning
gonna
the
do
stairs.
when we're done recording? Like, how do I transition into the next thing to do?
Mm-hmm. God, I briefly remembered why I was referencing this video, and then my mind blanked on it. Fuck. Give me a
Well, share
second.
the link anyway in the show notes.
If I can find it, though, it's in my watch history somewhere. But I've only watched one video from that content creator. So they're not like one I can just reference off the top of my head, like a Lurinati or Elliot Sang or Dr. Fatima.
Yes, hydration check. I actually will have another hydration check. Kai reminding us for our hydration.
Thank you very much, Kai. Teen Noir is another really good content creator if you're not aware.
I don't spend much time browsing
That was it.
YouTube as I used to.
That was it. She was talking about how it's important to celebrate even in resistance, right? And like to reference right after that, she showed how even in Palestine, they have people like doing this specific type of dance in front of like Israeli snipers. You know what I mean?
It
So
is
like
a powerful message to
joy and
celebrate.
resistance is important, right? Because
Yeah.
if we lose what makes us human and we just like get lost in fighting and being absorbed in that, then it's the same shit as what other people do. You know what I mean? You don't want to become what you're fucking fighting, you know?
Case in point. Other Israel-Palestine conflict. Don't become the thing that you hate.
Well, like, also, let's be real though. Joe Biden doesn't actually. I'm not going to say he doesn't have the power to stop it, because he could sign executive orders and shit. But
He
let's
does
be
have the
real.
power to
When was
stop
the
it. It's
U.S.
called cut the money off, dickhead.
Okay, but I'm just going to be real. Did any other U.S. president stop it earlier on either? Because they've all had chances. Palestine's been going since like the fucking 40s, right?
Yeah, this is not a new conflict. Yeah.
Right. And the thing is that everybody. Go ahead.
Sorry, what were you saying, Rob?
You can trace it back to actually the 1914s.
Yeah, 1917, I think, was the one that I had heard.
Somewhere around that area.
Been a long time.
Yeah, and it's specifically like, if you don't know, Zionism actually is an offshoot of Nazism, and they like literally pulled a lot of their shit from it. Like, I will post videos to reference what I'm talking about. But immediately that content creator I've been watching is Lost Futures. Go ahead and give them a look up. They're fantastic. They did like a several hour long video on like the history of Palestine and Israeli occupation, and it was very good. But yeah, like, revolutions have to have joy, otherwise you just end up in fighting, right? We have to be able to build something that's different and not recreate the same hierarchies in our own revolutionary movements. And I think not centering, but keeping joy in there. And also, like, this is something I was talking about last night. We give evil way too much power in this world, because evil has this thing it loves to do where it corrupts people, right?
Yeah.
It loves to pull somebody over to its side, make somebody get their hands dirty and be like, that's it, you're irredeemable, right? What the fuck ever happened to redemption, right?
Yeah.
Like, way back in the day, we used to even talk about like people who were in jail, who were murderers, who like turn their shit around and become like valued members of their community. When the fuck did we just start only writing people off? I think that what happened is past a certain point, it was a combination of two things. One, it explicitly benefits the people in charge if anybody can be called out or destroyed for any small mistake they make, because then you set an unrealistic standard that nobody can live up to, because the system that they live under puts so many problems into them and forces them to live through so many injustices that sometimes they normalize those behaviors and repeat that structure absolutely unintentionally, right? So like the harm that's done to us is often the same harm that we do and perpetuate if you don't examine it and deconstruct it, right? And like saying that once somebody engages in harm they have to be written off, that's fucking destructive, that's fucking harmful itself, right? These are people we're talking about. We have forgotten the power of reaching across the aisle, the power of redemption, the power of somebody actually doing fucking positive change. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so sick of somebody saying this person did a bad thing, now they're fucking gone. Trapdoor them. No, fuck that. This person did something, so let's hold them accountable and fucking give them. Oh yeah, I found it. The video I was talking about. I'm gonna copy it. At least I think this is the video. I'm gonna keep scrolling. Where was I?
We were just kind of talking about like redemption, like the idea of redemption and how it's
Right.
lost.
Yes,
and
yes.
social media doesn't help that either, because we act like, everything is logged, and so on this day at this specific moment in time you said this thing and you are a bad person forever. And it is like, my dude, that was 3 years ago. I have been
We unpacked
through.
that a bit in our last episode too.
Mm-hmm. It seems to be like a current kind of recurring theme. A lot of people are talking about it, just in discourse. It's just this idea of like, every message that is logged is just a snapshot in time. It is a snapshot of that person's brain in that moment in time. It does not dictate how they felt 10 minutes before they sent that message, 10 minutes after they sent that message. They could have had some revolutionary, thought-changing thing happen to them a minute after they fucking posted that. You don't know that. It is just a snapshot in time, and you have to take it with a grain of salt. Like, you have to, because like, you will get too lost you'll just get too lost in it. So social media
Please
advice.
pardon me if this video that I posted is wrong. I don't have the ability to stop and sift through a video while we're in recording, but I will look through it afterwards and try and make sure that it is the correct one, because I believe it is. And yeah, it's fucking relevant, you know. I think we need to again understand that we are being directed to think a very specific way by people whose entire job is to spin a very complicated web around us that we can't disentangle, right? We need to have more grace for each other and more willingness to understand each other's humanity and appeal to that, you know. I think we can really start talking about forgiveness. And like, I'm gonna fucking call out a content creator on the YouTube I'm really mad about in this topic. The leftist cooks. First off, your name is dog shit. If you're a leftist, nobody puts leftist in your name, just say, right? And they have a video on forgiveness that's like an hour or so, some odd long, and ultimately the point that they come to is, no, we don't have to forgive. And it's like, I'm gonna ask you to just take a beat for a second. You want to tell me you think that you've existed under a white supremacist hierarchy as a white person who also appears to be cisgender and heterosexual, and you have not at any point recreated oppression or harm in your own life? I think you haven't looked in the mirror enough, or you don't have the social awareness to see the harm that you are unintentionally causing at times, right? Forgiveness has to be integral, because like, there, first off, like, settlers have done so much, just indigenous people on here. There is a form of discussion that needs to happen around forgiveness, right? And I think it's extremely ironic for people who appear to be settlers. I don't know if they could be British or something. I don't fucking know. I wasn't like, it's been a while ago since I watched that video, and I don't know their stories, and it was like the only thing I watched from them. But it made me so mad. I never I never watched another video from them, and I hit YouTube don't recommend this channel on it. But yeah, saying that people don't need to forgive is extremely fucking toxic, because then it just hand waves everything that you've ever done and plays this game where you act like you're better than other people. And we get back to the same shit that's fucking poisoning leftist discourse constantly, which is purity politics, right? I don't care who you are. You have caused harm, and you are either trying to do better and learn about it, and you're happy about how much you've grown, or you're blissfully unaware, going about your shit and still causing harm. It's just how it
Also,
works. When you're raised under a...
between groups.
Go ahead.
Pettiness between groups. That's all. Just different.
I'm not sure I know what you mean.
Like different nonprofit organizations. Like, you know, you're all you're all have your specific niche focus, but you know, like we're all operating within this larger scheme of we're all marginalized communities. Blah 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 blah. Like sometimes people just don't play nice with each other. Yeah, it's you encounter it with like event organizing in particular. It's just there's a lot of politics that people don't know about within, like, I guess the sort of volunteer sphere.
Which, like, real quick, let's shift gears. Because again, for anybody who hasn't been listening for a long time, Jay is one of the organizers of Philly Pagan Pride.
Yes, and Rue also works with me
when
for
is that?
vendors. Oh, it's always the Saturday of Labor Day weekend. So this year that falls on so it always falls on Labor Day weekend. So it's this year that falls on the 31st of August. It's in Clark Park in West Philadelphia. Born and raised.
Just wanted to get that out of there ahead of time.
Exactly.
On the playground is where I spent most of my days, chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool, and shooting some b-ball up beside of school when a couple of guys who were up to no good started making trouble in my neighborhood. I got in one little fight. My mom said, I can't remember the rest, but you're going to Bel Air.
That was good. You had a good run.
Thanks.
I wonder if we can get Will Smith as our is Will Smith an occultist?
I don't know, but I watched so fucking much of that show when I was a kid.
It was a great show. I grew up on it too. Yeah. Such a good show. But yeah, so that's also what pulls me away during the summer season. I become a shell of myself during the summer because I'm very busy organizing that event.
So,
also,
for those
major
of you who
props
don't know, we don't typically record much in August because of that.
Yeah, actually. So I should just plan for that ahead of time. Actually, no, that might make me feel better. I'll plan for that ahead of time. The whole month of August, we're gonna probably disappear from the recording sphere. We'll still be in the Discord.
If we have it on the weekend. You know what I mean? Like if there's an odd day where you have it.
I might be able to squeeze one in August, but for the other 3 weeks, probably not.
Yeah.
It just becomes too much. But it's also like it's just such it's like a triple whammy, and then it's like it's also the busiest season of real estate, which is the industry that I work in. So it's like I just get it from fucking all angles. But by the time September rolls around, I feel like I need to like book a week for a cabin in the woods.
Yeah, that's really like our two off times during the year where we don't record as much is the August month. And then a little bit around the holiday season.
Yeah, sometimes
it's not like we're gone constantly, but like if it falls on a weekend or something like that, we definitely won't be recording that weekend, you know.
But that tracks though. I mean, that kind of makes sense. It's the natural flow. It's the Witches Betwixt Wheel of the Year as we've developed. We know what we're about. Know thyself, right? That's the whole thing.
It's also healthy to have an off month where you're just not there, because it gives us time to like recoup and recharge and do other shit. Plus, like I am busy as fuck in summer when I'm on a show call.
Yeah, so it just works out. You know, summertime is our busy bee time. But we've been prattling on for our usual hour. I don't want to go too much over, especially because we don't have Scott here. I hope Scott is taking good pictures at Pride. Hopefully.
I'm sure they are.
I am sure. So yeah, any concluding kind of thoughts before we wrap up here today? on this wonderful day of
Well, before we
Philly
do
gay
concluding
wrath.
thoughts, let's do our Hail Satan tier.
Oh yes, our Hail Satan tier. So we have a Hail Satan tier. We have not a Patreon. It's Ko-fi. It's the cooler version of Patreon. I think Ko-fi's better. So we have a Ko-fi page, and if you subscribe, we have a couple tiers on there. If you subscribe to our Hail Satan tier, you get to hail something in an episode. So it's basically like a shout out. So whether that's you want to advertise your business, you want to advertise an event, you just want to say some shit, whatever. Disclaimer, if we don't agree with the shit you want to say, we're not going to say it. So hail Satan. But we do have one subscriber in that tier. That is Tink. Tink is also super cool and is in our Discord. And Tink says, "Free Palestine." Let's always keep the people of Palestine.
And how much does that Hail Satan tier cost?
It is $6.66 a month.
Obviously.
All of our tiers are themed. We have the first tier, which is nice, which is $1.69 a month. Nice. Shit. What's the mid tier? I'm trying to remember.
It's
I made them up.
Isn't it 333 for something?
I think it's 333.
Or is it 420?
Oh, it's 420. Blaze it. That's the mid tier.
Yeah,
Mid tier is Blaze it. That's $4.20 a month.
Okay.
And then the Hail Satan tier is $6.60 a month.
Here's my closing thoughts.
Because we're quirky.
Free Palestine, yes. And I don't want to take attention away from that topic, but we need to talk about Congo. And I've heard about other parts of Africa. I don't want to name shit just off the top of my head and like shoot in the dark and miss, but I know that there's humanitarian crimes going on in Congo. And it's a big fucking deal because they basically have slave camps where they work people to death, including children, to mine cobalt because it's important in batteries. So we also need to be
Africa as a whole has really like
there's a lot of like genocide shit happening across the world right now. And we need to do better about educating ourselves. Like, for example, I can't even name off the top of my head all the countries that have all things going off, and that's a failing on my part because I've already been told it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, go ahead and say what you were going to say, Jay.
I was saying, I follow this Threads account. I think it's called African Stream or something. It's all about like different news and like things going on the continent of Africa. A lot of countries in Africa do not have full rights to the shit on their own land. Like France, as much as we're like, oh, the French are cool because like they don't, they know how to protest and shit. Well, the French are also assholes because they are extorting the shit out of a lot of African countries. So, not everyone is perfect, but yeah, Africa, a lot of African countries
has something going on.
Yeah, a lot of them are really fucked by these old deals that, these European countries have, and it's really fucked up. And yeah, just throwing that out there. Not to add anything else to anyone's worries, but yeah, I really didn't know that. I really thought that, Africa had control of itself, but no, it does not in reality. Which is
colonization is alive and well. That's why everybody keeps trying to pretend it is not.
Yeah, it's still going on. Like, we think it's not just people coming over here in boats. It's not just like, oh, a bunch of people got on a boat and we found the new land and that was colonization. It's like, no, it's still an ongoing process.
They're like, but there's no pilgrims with the little caps and the muskets. It can't be colonization.
Where's the turkeys for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, like
the cranberry sauce.
Also, if you're
the colonists are coming.
Interested in where Thanksgiving came from, please, again, it's Indigenous History Month in Canada. Read Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kilmer, and fucking you learn about the history of the actual thing. I don't wanna paraquote it because it's been like a year and a half since I read the book, but I should go over it again just to familiarize myself with it. But yeah. Free Palestine, liberate people all across the globe, fuck genocide no matter who does it, fucking it's wrong no matter what. Land back. You can't say free Palestine without saying land back, because a fight against colonization in one place is a fight against colonization everywhere, right? And Indigenous people are not gone. Not at all. And we need to do better about being in solidarity with each other, trying to ask each other to be better rather than painting each other as villains, right? I want to see a group of people who have learned something that the right can't do. We can build each other up. We can help each other improve. If we learn how to do this in a way that's not constructive, we have something they can never do. True unity, true love, true care, true compassion. Those things move mountains. You can take somebody who's literally committed murders and show them humanity, and they can change their ways. It doesn't undo what they've done, but we need to stop giving up on people all the goddamn time. Nobody is born as a child and just wants to do wrong. Like, there are some mental illnesses that do cause people to cause harm, right? But most people are harmed by a system that they then go on to perpetuate without realizing, or actively realizing and perpetuating anyways.
It is very true.
We have all been harmed. We have all harmed. Forgiveness, and more than forgiveness, restitution and reparations need to happen. There is no other path forward. We need to come together with each other and existing community. And what I mean by that is not even necessarily like living with these people and seeing them every day, but breaking out of our bubbles, challenging our opinions that are short-sighted, sharing our discourse and learning from each other. And honestly, sometimes if you're in a different space, just sitting down and listening. I know I'm going on a little long here, but like, nobody ever dislikes the person who comes into a space, sits down quietly and respectfully listens to everybody without interrupting or saying anything. You will be appreciated in that space, I promise you.
I've been that person
ever
in many
says,
spaces.
and it's always a good experience, isn't it?
It's amazing, and
Nobody
I think
ever
that's...
says, I hate how you listen to me.
I think it's one of my skills. I've always tried to pin down like what's my magical skill, and I always kind of like pinned it on like community building, but it's not something you think about. But that's really what it is I put myself, I'm invited, or I ask, if it's okay if I attend these things with these other communities or magical groups or whatever these groups are, and I observe. And I follow along, and I engage in the level that I'm allowed to be, engaging in, and it's just called respect the environment that you're in. It's very simple. It's not hard to do. And it can really open up a lot of opportunities for you if you learn how to do it right.
Those are the three things we need. Respect. ADHD's a bitch. Plus with weed. I forget them off the top of my head, but no, it's right. Forgiveness and like, I can't remember, but
empathy.
I've said enough though. Like, I think people get where I'm coming from. I'm gonna keep prattling on about the same shit, episode after episode. And honestly, like, as my discourse evolves and I grow, I will bring those views into the show every week. And we all get to take a journey with each other because we're all here to grow. Right?
We've all grown so much. If you listen back to past episodes, it's pretty wild to listen to. The amount of growth.
It's shocking how immature I was back in 2018 and even 2020, Like, I've grown so much in the past 4 years that I don't even recognize myself anymore sometimes.
Yeah. Growth, that's what we're all about
4 to 5 years. 4 to 5 years should do that for you. You know what I mean?
If you're the same as you were 4 years ago, re-examine.
Woof.
Eesh.
Please do not get stuck in a cycle like that, because the only thing that doesn't change is a dead thing. And that's where I will end tonight.
Yeah. Alrighty, we are gonna head out of here. I don't know. The Ren Fair, is that Sunday or Saturday? True. You know. I don't know if we'll be here for recording next week. I think we might
can also do
have...
irregular schedules a little bit more. Like, I'm totally down to do like evening recordings or Saturday if it works out. Like, I don't think like consistency is our strength, yes, but I think that actually when we did the Saturday stream, it was fucking way more successful than we expected it to be.
Yeah, we had a nice little crowd. So, I don't know if next Sunday. I don't think so. I think it's happening. What's the 8th? It is a Saturday. Oh, I think we can record next week. All right, so we should be good for next week. But you will know otherwise. So with that, we're gonna wrap up for today, and we will see you in the next one.
Take care. Love y'all. Be
Bye,
good
everyone.
to each other.
Yes, please be good to each other.